A cave with a dungeon type has been created. The Tower Trials dungeon has been made, along with hidden treasures in the dungeon. A world where adventurers hunt dungeons to gain wealth and honor. But not everyone becomes an adventurer, and only chosen people can become adventurers. Then one morning, this young man was walking and met someone. Apparently he's an adventurer, and there's a dungeon ahead, and ordinary people aren't allowed to enter. The young man was seen wearing an adventure necklace. And a large bag was carried by the young adventurer. This young man is named Nagi. He is a white porcelain rank adventurer. His job is adventure bag. Nagi is a porter. He just came to this area for the first time. Nagi comes from the association and his job here is to help adventurers carry items to the dungeon. A porter with a 50 gold daily wage. Finally he realized this. He thought it was stupid, because this dungeon would require 4 porters to be sent. But Nagi was alone, so he was called stupid. He doesn't trust Nagi because there will be a lot of loot to carry here. Of course, their bags also include a lot of heavy luggage. He was also told to bring a lot of things. A porter who gets 5x normal rate of 10 gold or less per day. Now he will show the true strength of a porter. Nagi puts his bag on the ground. He easily put all the heavy stuff into his bag. They were just silent when they saw Nagi actions. This young knight also looked confused. They say Nagi has a magic bag. They all looked confused about their belongings that were put in the bag. This is a special bag, and no one can use it but him. Finally the young knight gave permission. That he would be their porter in the dungeon they were about to enter. Gold rank, named Jepnam, a swordsman, commander of the Dawn Wolf Brigade. He confirmed that he would bear the consequences himself. Nagi knew that the person was the party leader. He looks very disciplined and tough. For him this will be fun. He is a professional porter, and the dungeon raid will end here. They have also prepared all the equipment for battle. They finally entered the dungeon together. They explore the dungeon, with Nagi carrying the light. Suddenly they stepped on a strange floor, which turned out to be a trap. But from a distance it was seen that goblins were starting to attack them. They quickly got ready, and Nagi quickly hid. Both sides attacked each other. The battle took place simultaneously. They had quite a hard time dealing with the goblin horde. Finally they managed to defeat the goblin, but here it seems they were too nervous. They argued with each other. Nagi immediately thought of something, because this was his job as a porter. It looks like he's going to take something out of his bag. They need something to keep them relaxed so they don't get nervous. They were confused about the meaning. Nagi also took out a lot of food from his bag. This movement is called porter-style dungeon restaurant. Finally they started to eat all the food. They think that it is the ability of the bag. The statement is true, that this is the ability of this bag. He immediately took something out of his bag again. A bathtub for bathing. Now he felt like he was in a beautiful resort. But this is still in the dungeon. Finally they both felt like taking a bath in the dungeon. It's a decent experience and comfort, but it's still not worth paying 50 gold. For Nagi in this dungeon, it is very important to stay in good condition and get enough sleep. It is his duty to help adventurers and provide comfort during dungeons. Now they feel like they are in top form and full of energy. And now they are preparing to conquer the dungeon. The extermination was finally carried out, and they all fought well, including Nagi who was hiding. He could only hide behind a rock, because Nagi, a porter, actually had no combat ability. The problem with dungeons is usually the boss. The boss is always a bundle of variables. But it seems like they are prepared for that. They all finally faced the boss together. The boss starts attacking with his left hand. But this old man was able to avoid the frontal attack. After that he started aiming his crossbow to attack. But it didn't work because the boss has a counter ability. The monster started attacking again. The tail kick attack was successfully anticipated by the party members. At the same time, Jepnam immediately started to attack. He aimed for the monster's tail. With the positive talent bash skill he managed to cut the monster's tail. But at the same time the monster started to spit something out of its mouth. The direct attack from the monster was successfully anticipated by Jepnam with sword skills. But this will not be easy. The monster managed to perform an area-based attack. Nagi know that the monster was called Zarkum Lizard with AB rating. After seeing the battle, the party was already 80% to achieve success. To make things easier for them, he immediately took something out of his bag. He already had it in his hand. He took out a mushroom. He planned to throw this thing at the monster, so that the party's attack could be maximized. Nagi began to prepare to throw the mushroom. He was aiming. But the lizard started making strange movements. Suddenly the lizard will burst towards Jepnam from close. Finally a gap opened up because of that, and he started throwing. A strong and long throw was launched towards the lizard boss. Until it hit the lizard's head squarely. The lizard began to experience strange reactions due to the throwing of the mushroom. Jepnam learned of the attack from the porter. Nagi tells him that now is the right time to attack. He immediately followed Nagi's plan. He started running from the lizard's tail. After running he jumped behind the lizard while holding the sword. The high jump allows him to freely attack from behind. Finally, with one fatal stab of his sword, Jepnam managed to defeat the lizard. They also managed to complete the challenge of this dungeon and immediately took the loot. Seeing the adventurers successfully complete the dungeon made Nagi happy. The drop were only 5, and the rest were just low-value item. The dungeon monster were mostly just Komno Goblin. If they weigh the cost and effort that went into this raid against the reward, so a perfect loss occurred. Then they have to split the rewards 4 ways. Finally they fought over the reward and argued with each other. Splitting the rewards is becoming a sensitive issue. But for him, the adventure issue had nothing to do with him, and he only received salary according to the initial agreement. But there he tried to lighten the mood by giving them drinks. But Jepnam started to think differently, that the mushroom he threw was a rare ingredient. But for Nagi, it's just part of his ability. They also think that it is very extraordinary. That extraordinary thing is the bag that Nagi has. Maybe the contents of the bag are more valuable than the dungeon itself. They know that maybe there is money or something in the bag. Even though Nagi is just a porter with a paid of 50 gold. They started acting strangely, and started to target the bag. This made him feel a little strange. Suddenly the attack was directed towards the bottle of drink. An arrow attack was launched towards Nagi. This confused him, and then the next attack was launched. An attack that was aimed at him, and it could be fatal. He seemed to know what the party wanted. Nagi began to be cornered alone in the dungeon. This old man just wanted to get this end with without any pain. Being an adventurer is very risky, therefore the income must also be equal to the risk. They're just in a tough situation, if they can't pay the attribute. As an adventure porter, this is the risk that Nagi must face, that's it, betrayal. And the job of a dungeon porter is one where defeat during the dungeon run is quite common. Even Nagi lose with them, that people just say he lose with Goblin and no one would think anything strange about it. No matter Nagi helped the adventure, the way they treated Nagi is as a tool. Their view of him was initially very admirable. But in an instant it turned into a despicable view, because of the loot problem. But he was not surprised by this, because this was a familiar occurrence for an adventure porter. In this world, since birth, each person has received an ability or destiny that brings them to the adventure rank. One of them is Nagi's destiny. He has the ability bag, which brought him to the lowest ranked job. From past to present, problems and destiny have not changed. When he was born as the lowest job rank, ability bag. Many people look down on their job abilities because are useless for adventure. He couldn't register as an adventurer with such abilities. But if Nagi still wants to participate in the dungeon, he must register as a dungeon porter. He was destined not to be an adventurer. Here he knew that they would attack, and here he would not just sit back and do nothing. They already seemed prepared. This warrior would make the first attack. With his spear he began to attack Nagi head-on. Nagi started to make a defensive move. He slightly threw his bag. Now he will fight, and it is not his will to do this. He started taking something out of his bag. The warrior's spear slash was blocked by the sword that Nagi took from his bag. He was surprised by that. The first step is taken. Nagi jumped towards the warrior preparing to attack. With the hilt of the sword he planned to attack him with it. Finally, with the hilt of the sword, Nagi managed to hit the warrior's face, sending him flying. They were also surprised by Nagi's movements. He then started to take the axe out of his bag again. Then threw the axe right at the crossbow man. Nagi aims for the old man's weapon, to destroy it. In the end, the crossbow could no longer be used, due to the attack from Nagi. Jepnam was shocked and confused about what Nagi had done. The warrior has been defeated, and now it's a 1 versus 3 fight. Jepnam was angry with his party members for not defeating the porter quickly. Finally, they both started attacking Nagi at the same time. But he had already prepared something to take out on them. He threw a hot water hose at them with great force. As a result, they feel the heat from the hot water. At the same time, with his ability, he again takes out his weapon to attack. He would finish this fight in an instant. The large shield that the member had was successfully split by him. It surprised him. Then with full strength Nagi started hitting the man using a stick hard. The blow sent him flying and hitting another one. A fighting technique with useless abilities has been shown by Nagi. The man was defeated in one attack. Jepnam seemed surprised at how quickly he was defeated. He has already defeated all 3 adventurers simultaneously. Jepnam doesn't believe that Nagi is a white rank. It looks like there are a lot of weapons in his bag. Nagi with useless abilities can maximize his fighting techniques to the highest and unpredictable level. He admitted that he was not an adventurer, but only a dungeon.